These are the adventures of a temporarily out of work wife and mother. So last weekend's weekend reset looked a little different. Our grocery haul really only included those items that needed to be replaced. Since we got most of the ingredients for about 2 weeks worth of meals, we only needed a few items to complete our menu. And yes, I got another bottle of that double XL peach. But listen. I bought another bottle while I still had a bottle because I was anticipating having the company of some friends and my adult daughter who I was going to share the wine with. And y'all already know we had to get more of those juices for that lady's son that I married and my sunshine. This week's menu included crab top salmon, mostly homemade chicken pot pies, as evidenced by that rotisserie chicken on the counter and that ready made pie crust, wings and fries, and today we have a special dish that we'll be creating together. Myself, my sunshine, and his homegirl. And if you stick around, I got a story time for you. And y'all know we had to re-up on that ginger ale. I gotta come up with a better place to put these waters and Gatorades and Powerades because this location is getting out of control. But I got it together temporarily and threw all those bags in the recycle bin because our grocery bag holder is full. Then I combined the new chips with the existing chips and got rid of the old box. And every week I find myself having to reorganize this pantry because the people who live in my house don't seem to be able to keep it in order. And this is the moment when I realized that I got a little OCD. The great thing is this week we don't have any leftovers to throw away because they've actually been eaten. Look at God. Now, I'm not 100% sure why these people that I live in the house with get stuff in the refrigerator and don't clean it up, but here we are. Is it just the people in my house or do y'all have that problem too? Let me know in the comments. And another good thing, I did not have to fight with a perpetual wedgie this week, so I didn't have to edit it out. Look at God. So I put away everything that goes in the drawer and in the cabinet, and I'm not 100% sure why it sounds like a good idea to put an empty pack of Saison back in the box. But I know who the culprit is, that lady's son that I married. One thing for sure, and two things for certain. It is an absolute gift having a son who's already over 6 feet tall. Because I don't know how this box got all the way back there, but the way he reached up there and snatched it had me a little bit in my feelings. So what? I'm only 5'4" 1/4. Just about everything on top of this refrigerator is adults only. Mostly my husband's stuff that he takes to work in that lunch bag in the back of that refrigerator. So with that reorganized, we reset that grocery list. Food, Costco, and non-food. And since we did all of our reset the day before, since my sunshine was having his friend girl over, all I really had to do was this kitchen because I made that hibachi yesterday and then I knocked out. I did not do these dishes. I cleaned the kitchen up though. I just left the dishes. And here is another point where I realized that I do have OCD for real. I wash everything the same way, whether it's flat or curved, round or square, plate, bowl, pot, or cup. I put them in the sink in size order. I wash them in size order. I put them in the dish drain in size order. I wash them in the same order every time. Flats like plates and lids, then bowls and containers that are square or rectangle, and then bowls or containers that are round, then cups, pots and pans, silverware, and serving utensils. I also use both the soft and scrubby side of the scrub mommy on each dish. I am clearly anal about how my dishes are cleaned. I don't even know how I managed to teach 4 children how to wash dishes and deal with all the mess that comes along with them halfway cleaning and halfway rinsing things. And the number of dishes that I washed on this occasion was absolutely ridiculous. But I'm not going to cut it out. I'm going to use this time for a story time. And let me ask y'all a question. Do you allow your children, your teenagers, to have opposite gender company? When I was a teenager, new fellas had to be in the living room only. And once my mom got to know them a little bit better, they could be in our bedrooms. But there was 5 girls in one house, and we were sharing rooms. So there was never a time when we would be in those bedrooms alone with a fella. The door had to be open, and my mommy had to be home. She's gone now, God rest her soul. So I can safely say, without getting a whooping at this big age, that yes, we did take full advantage. But never when she was home. And we were girls, so we had one another's backs. Now, we were smart enough not to take it too far, if you know what I mean. There was not a one underage pregnancy, and no STDs. Now, there was the one time when we got caught, all of us. So, it was a snow day. We all got sent home from school. What we didn't factor in was that the weather was bad enough that mommy would be sent home from work too. When she got home, the three older girls, we had company. And to mommy's credit, she didn't lose her ish. She kept her cool. She taught me how to put the fear of God in a child without ever saying a word. How to command the respect of a potential suitor of your daughter. Baby, she lined them all up in the living room on the couch, gave them the death stare, and waited. And baby, they was apologizing and tripping and falling over one another. Cause see, they knew mommy's rules too. These weren't just any old boys. These were long-term boyfriends who'd had the privilege of being in our home and eating at our dinner table, celebrating holidays and birthdays, attending worship service with us, tying up our phone line for hours, and so on. My older sister is married to one of those men right now. To mommy's credit, she didn't even put us in a position to have to lie to her about what we were doing in her house. What she did do, though, was make an appointment at a gynecologist, where she made sure that everything was everything, provided us with the tools that we needed to ensure that she did not become anybody's grandmother prematurely. We had the information that we needed to keep ourselves and our partners safe. Was pleasantly surprised, though, to be informed that the doctor was unable to perform full exams on several of us because we weren't all doing what she thought we were doing, but we had certainly been doing what we shouldn't have been doing. And that's when she started asking the questions. And the answers let her know that her daughters wasn't no damn fools. Yeah, we was wrong as two left feet, but we were at least smart enough to keep our wrong in our own favor, if you know what I mean. We were receiving and not giving, and our young men had no complaints. To give you some perspective, it was only a few months later that I left for college. And while I had given in to my hormones, emotions, and curiosity, I didn't discover my latex allergy until the day before I got on that bus to go to Niagara University. Yep, you heard that right. I found out in the worst way. Baby, I thought my hoo-ha was gonna fall out. And guess who I had to tell? Mm-mm. And since she didn't know, just like I didn't know, that you could be allergic to latex, we all thought that I'd gotten something. And that poor boy had to do everything in his power to avoid the wrath of my big brother. Baby, that relationship ended just as fast, and I had sworn off intercourse for life. Because it took a while for me to find out that the reaction that I had was a result of the condom. And I had no idea that there were condoms made from other material. So it was quite a while before I barked up that tree again. But that experience taught me a lot of lessons. Lessons that I used in my own personal life, but also lessons that I applied to my parenthood. Where there is a will, there will always be a way. So denying your children the opportunity to have experiences that include dating and having opposite gender company cannot and will not prevent them from making decisions that they're not necessarily ready for. It forces them to have to sneak and do a lot more than they would if you were right there to supervise. And they end up learning things that they have to learn one way or the other without your input. It increases the likelihood that you're going to have to help them out of situations that they wouldn't have been in the first place if they knew that they could come to you as they made the decisions that life, hormones, emotions, and curiosity forced them to make. The extremes just don't work. You can't say no to everything, and you can't allow them to do everything they want to do either. And they will always push the envelope. You give a teenager an inch, they absolutely trying to take a mile. But like my mommy demonstrated, you don't lose your cool. You reinforce the rules. You take the necessary precautions to help them keep themselves safe. You check the file and find out just how far they've gone. You provide the tools and opportunities that will ensure that they see you as a trusted, reliable, competent resource for information, advice, and support as they travail this thing we call life. It's a roller coaster that you can't just get off, because if it stops, it's over. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And mommy, I know you looking down from heaven just shaking your head, because I know I'm a whole fool. But like you always said, God takes care of babies and fools. I hope I'm doing you proud.